So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Now, needless to say this, you have to revise this lecture just after watching it because just watching this lecture would not allow you to remember these current affairs till your exams. You'll quickly forget them. Therefore, revise this lecture from the notes provided by us on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below. Okay, so do revise this lecture. It's very important. All right, enough of the introduction. Let's straight away jump into the lecture. But first, let's take a look at the list of topics. Okay, so let's begin. So daily current affairs, 23rd of October, Thursday. And here is the list of topics. Number one topic is related to Financial Action Task Force on Terror Financing. Recently, the plenary session, the session of FATF is undergoing. And they have said something about state-sponsored terrorism. So we'll talk about FATF in this. Okay, then the next topic is related to SOAR scheme launched by Ministry of Skill Development. Okay, skilling for AI readiness. So we'll talk about this scheme and how important it is for India's youth. Then the third topic is related to IT information technology amendment rules, which is basically related to social media giants and content regulation, illegal content that is published online, how to regulate that. Okay, so third topic is related to that. And fourth topic is related to Barnawapara Wildlife Sanctuary, because black buck antelope species was recently spotted in this wildlife sanctuary, and black buck was extinct from this wildlife sanctuary 40 years ago. Okay, so these are the four topics. Topic number one is related to international relations portion of your UPSC syllabus. Topic number two related to, well, economics and, well, social reform or policy and governance. Okay. Topic number three is related to polity portion of your UPSC syllabus, laws and everything. And fourth is clear cut related to environment portion of your UPSC syllabus. Okay, so these are the four topics. Let's start discussing them one by one. All right, starting with FATF on terror financing. Now you must be familiar with FATF, Financial Action Task Force. Okay, it is an international body that basically keeps a check on international money laundering, international terror financing, and proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Okay, the entire goal of FATF is to stop these three things from happening on the planet. Okay, in the world. Clear? Now, recently, well, the highest decision-making body of FATF, that is plenary session, where all the members of FATF come together and talk, make policies with respect to these three things: money laundering, terror financing, and weapons of mass destruction, right? Now, in its plenary session, well, FATF raised concerns about state-sponsored terrorism, okay? How states are actively participating in financing terror organizations, okay? And in that regard, Pakistan was discussed because Pakistan is accused of, well, breeding terror groups against India, right? So FATF, well, was in the news in that context, okay? But what is important for us? For us, we need to know everything about FATF because FATF has been in the news quite some time, okay? Quite a few number of times, quite frequent basically, okay? So that is why we need to know everything about FATF, and therefore the objective of this topic in today's lecture is knowing everything about FATF. So let's begin, okay? So FATF. So what was in the news? The ongoing Financial Action Task Force meeting in Paris are expected to deliberate on state sponsorship as a means to fund and support terrorism, including the financing of banned outfits and their proxies operating in Pakistan. So Pakistan is going to be discussed. Good news for India. But we won't get into that news. We will talk about FATF, Financial Action Task Force. So FATF was established in 1989 at the G7 summit in Paris. G7, group of developed Western countries. Okay. So it was established. The whole idea of FATF was, initially FATF in 1989 was established to combat money laundering. Okay. Then in 2001, 9/11 attacks happened, and therefore it was realized that money laundering is being used to finance terror organizations as well. Therefore, the next target or the next objective or the mandate of FATF was expanded to cover even terror financing. Later in 2012-13, well, the mandate of FATF was further expanded to include proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. And in 2019, it was realized that, well, cryptocurrencies are being used for money laundering. Therefore, the mandate was further expanded to cover virtual assets as well. Clear? So this was the thing. As you can see, in 1990, it gave 40 recommendations to combat money laundering, 2001, terror, 2012, weapons of mass destruction, 2019, virtual assets. Okay. Now, who are the members of FATF? Well, as far as FATF membership is concerned, earlier, before 2023, FATF had 38 countries and 2 regional organizations as members. Okay. What were those 2 regional organizations? Gulf Cooperation Council and European Commission. Okay. So 2 regional organizations, 38 countries, total membership was 40. But after 2023, Russia was suspended from FATF, and therefore today, after that suspension, FATF has 37 member countries and 2 regional organizations, GCC and European Commission. Remember this part, okay? Its headquarters are in Paris, and well, the office space of Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development is shared with FATF. Okay, so these are the things you need to know about FATF. By the way, what are the functions of FATF? So let's talk about that as well. So basically, FATF gives you recommendations, okay, gives you guidelines. Those guidelines should be implemented by countries all over the world in their laws, rules and regulations, everywhere. These guidelines are there to prevent money laundering, terror financing. And when countries apply these guidelines to their laws, well, they are also preventing money laundering and terror financing, right? So this is function number 1. Then FATF also keeps on monitoring countries, whether they are following these guidelines or not. Okay, so they keep on monitoring these countries if they are following these guidelines or not, whether these countries are combating money laundering or terror financing or not. And based on this monitoring, FATF produces 2 lists. Okay, one is known as the blacklist, high risk jurisdictions. Countries with such severe deficiencies that the FATF calls for enhanced due diligence and in most serious cases, sanctions. Okay, countries who are kept in blacklist, well, economic sanctions are leveled against them because they are not doing anything to combat money laundering. In fact, they are supporting. North Korea, Iran, Myanmar are in this list. Then there is a lighter gray list. Okay, countries actively working with the FATF to address strategic deficiencies. So there are countries who have these deficiencies in their laws and rules, but they are in touch with FATF so as to control these deficiencies. Okay, this is the grey list. Countries in grey list also find it really hard to receive foreign investments into their countries. Pakistan was kept in this grey list. Clear? So these are the functions of FATF. There are some more points, but those are mentioned in your notes. So do check that out as well. All right. Okay. Now let's quickly move on to topic number 2, and that is a scheme by Government of India called Skilling for AI Readiness. SOAR program, Skilling for AI Readiness. Basically, the idea is that India's next generation should be AI ready. Everyone in India should be skilled as far as AI is concerned, right? That is why under SOAR program, government is introducing AI in school curriculum. Basically training school students to be AI ready, to know how to use AI, to know how to manipulate AI, and to create useful applications from AI. Basically, through this, government wants that the next generation is AI ready and they compete with the best in the world. Basically, India becomes an AI powerhouse in future. For that reason, we are teaching AI properly in schools, and for that, we have launched SOAR scheme. So let's gather some details about SOAR scheme, right? So yeah, skilling for AI readiness. It's a short topic, okay? We'll finish it quickly. So what was in the news? Launched in July 2025, this program coincides with 10-year milestone of Skill India mission, okay? Which has empowered people through various skilling schemes since 2015, including expansion into emerging domains like AI under Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Remember, this scheme is launched by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship in collaboration with Ministry of Education, because we are teaching school students, right? So basically, the architect of this scheme is Ministry of Skill Development, but they are cooperating. People in this ministry are cooperating with people of Ministry of Education. So remember this part, okay? Now about SOAR. So it is designed to strengthen AI literacy and competency among students from classes 6 to 12 and their teachers also. Because how else would these students get to know about AI? Their teachers are going to teach them. So we need to train the teachers first, okay? What is the purpose? Structured AI modules, hands-on learning, ethics-based training, how to use AI in an ethical way, to prepare India's youth for AI-driven careers. Okay, by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship in coordination with Ministry of Education. Now, what are the key features of this SOAR program? Okay, first of all, structured learning modules would be created. 3 15-hour AI modules for students and 1 45-hour AI module, okay, for educators. That's not important. Ethical AI training, centers of excellence would be created where more research and innovation would be done in the field of AI. Then industry integration, how AI can be used in industry, that training would also be imparted. Then digital access hub would be created. Then apprenticeship, internships would be provided. That is also there. So these are some of the key features. It's important for your prelims examination, not so much for mains. For mains, you just have to quote the scheme in your answers. That's about it. That's the extent of its usage as far as mains is concerned. But questions can be asked for prelims. So make sure you revise the notes properly. And we shall quickly shift our focus to third news item, and that is IT Amendment Rules 2025. Now, basically, IT Amendment Rules, these IT Amendment Rules are amending IT Rules of 2021. And what are they doing? What are they trying to achieve through this amendment? Basically, the thing is that it is very difficult to regulate social media companies, social media intermediaries, as they are called in legal language. It is very difficult to control them when it comes to, wrongful, illegal content, okay, which violates India's laws. So therefore, these rules are updated so that government is more equipped to regulate illegal content, malicious content online in a transparent and efficient way. Basically, the idea is to regulate content online through these social media companies. That's the idea. So let's quickly discuss this also, okay? So IT Amendment Rules 2025. So what was in the news? From November 1st, 2025, only officials of the rank of Joint Secretary or Director General of Police, DGP, can order the removal of online content under the new IT rules. The full form is Information Technology Intermediary, social media intermediaries like Facebook, Google, Guidelines, Digital Media Ethics Code Amendment Rules. Okay. So again, the main point of this, the main feature of these rules is that, well, only a high-ranking official can order to remove a particular content online. Okay, high-ranking official. Low-level officers won't be allowed to do that. Again, this is done so that there is more care that is taken as far as censoring content online is concerned. Okay. Now, these rules were notified by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MeitY, and it replaces IT Rules 2021. So remember this point. MeitY released these rules. Okay. Now, what are some of the key features? Like I said before, authorized officers, only Joint Secretary or above or DGP rank officers can order the removal of content. Okay. Legal justification should be given. Every order must include a clear legal justification that this content is not allowed as per this provision of this law. Proper justification should be given. Then there is a review mechanism also. All takedown actions, all such orders will undergo monthly review by secretary level officer to ensure legality and proportionality. AI generated content regulations. So it introduces the definition of synthetically generated information like deep fakes, AI generated voice, AI generated person. To regulate this, well, a proper framework is given. Okay. So this is there. What are some other features? Deep fakes shall be labeled. It will be made compulsory for social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram and all to label deep fake videos or photos so that people get to know and are not misled by it. Okay. Platform accountability. Significant social media intermediaries like Facebook and Google must obtain user declarations during upload and use automated tools to detect synthetic content. So these are some of the features. The whole idea is so that, well, the process is transparent. Much care is taken before blocking any content. That is why only high-level officials can do it. Okay. There is proper legal statutory basis for any removal order. All this has to be ensured. That is why these rules were introduced. Okay. So remember this. And today's lecture is going to be short and crisp. Therefore, we'll quickly shift our focus to last news item, and that is Barnawapara Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay. Now, black buck. Black buck is an antelope species in India, native to India and Nepal. They are only found in India and Nepal. And they are mostly found in central or western India, grasslands and thinly covered forests. Okay. Now, this black buck species, the thing is that it is considered significant for certain communities. Significant in terms of religion. Some people or some religious some communities in India, well, they consider this animal to be sacred and they take every step to conserve them. Okay, so black buck are culturally significant. Their hunting is banned in India because they are in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, and they are very important. But they became extinct from Chhattisgarh, okay, 40 years ago. But recently, because of the efforts of forest officials, well, Barnawapara Wildlife Sanctuary of Chhattisgarh has been repopulated with black buck. Okay, so in this topic, we will talk about this Barnawapara Wildlife Sanctuary, certain key features about this. We will talk about black buck because questions can be asked in your prelims examination. Then we'll talk about what sort of threats are faced by this black buck species. And it is being said that the way forest officials of Chhattisgarh repopulated their state with black buck, it is a learning case study. For it is a good case study for other forest officials in the country to see. So we need to know what did they do to repopulate their state with black buck. Okay, so the important steps taken by Chhattisgarh forest officials: black buck, Barnawapara Wildlife Sanctuary, and the threats faced by black buck. All these things would be covered in this last topic. So pay close attention. Okay. So Barnawapara Wildlife Sanctuary. So what was in the news? First, let's talk about this. In 2018, officials at Chhattisgarh Barnawapara Wildlife Sanctuary started on an ambitious venture to revive black buck population that became extinct 50 years ago. I apologize, not 40, 50 years ago. Barnawapara now boasts 190 black bucks and officials plan to replicate the conservation model across the state. Now first, let's talk about Barnawapara. So it is located in Chhattisgarh, Baloda Bazar district of Chhattisgarh, very close to the capital of Chhattisgarh, Raipur. Okay, 106 kilometers away from Raipur. The physiography of this area is, well, it has undulating plains with maximum elevation up to 640 meters. Certain rivers also pass through this wildlife sanctuary, Balmedhi, Jong, and an important river of Odisha, Mahanadi. Okay, the climate, it receives annual rainfall of around 1200 mm with pleasant winters from November to February. It's famous for deciduous trees like teak and sal. It's famous for animals like leopards, barking deer, bison, boar, chital, and now black buck. Now black buck, okay? Black buck has come back. So let's talk about black buck, okay? So black buck or Indian antelope is a species of antelope native to India and Nepal. What is their habitat? Grassy plains, grasslands basically, and thinly forested areas, primarily in central and western India. Then their IUCN status is least concern. So they are not threatened. But their hunting is banned. Why? Because they have been kept in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. So they are protected by the Indian government. The cultural significance, the black buck holds deep cultural and religious significance in India, especially among the Bishnoi community. Okay, for them, it's a religiously significant animal. Clear? Now, this black buck faces a lot of threats. What sort of threats are faced by this species? So let's talk about this. Okay, first of all, agricultural expansion. Because of agricultural expansion, their usual habitat, like thinly forested areas or grasslands, well, their usual habitat is getting fragmented because of agricultural expansion. So this is one threat. Then urbanization is also encroaching upon their habitat. Then hunting is one big problem. Okay. And then genetic isolation. Because their habitat is getting fragmented, many black buck species are becoming isolated from one another. Some are trapped here, some are trapped there. And their gene pool is not mixing. They're not able to reproduce together. So their gene pool is getting isolated. There is a lot of inbreeding among black bucks that has led to many genetic diseases and collapse of their population in certain areas. Okay. Now remember, I told you what Chhattisgarh did is a case study for everyone else. So what did they do? So when we talk about Chhattisgarh steps to revive, first of all, in 2018, they launched a translocation project. So they imported black bucks from other parts of India and translocated them, reintroduced them to Barnawapara Wildlife Sanctuary. So this was step number one. What India is doing with cheetahs, okay? You know about cheetah project, right? Project Cheetah. Then habitat management. They tried to improve the quality of habitat, which is generally inhabited by black bucks. So this was there. Then they monitored these black bucks properly and provided good veterinary care. And anti-hunting measures were taken. Proper surveillance was done. Forest officials did regular patrolling to spot hunters who are hunting for these species. Okay. So all these steps were taken. Clear? And that would be all. With that, we conclude today's session, the short and crisp session. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'm sure it has added value to our preparation. But it will add more value if you revise this lecture from the notes provided by us. So please do not forget to do that, and I shall see you next time with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.